I come from an atheist family and we are not in the habit of going to church. Influenced by my family, I had no interest in any religion. However, the unthinkable happened to me. I had a cough for the last few years as long as it was in the fall, and then it lasted until spring. One year in the fall, I started coughing again. I went to a local clinic for treatment, as I always do. I came to the clinic after dinner. The doctor told me, I don't have the penicillin I used before yet. They needed to use a new batch of penicillin, and they first did a skin test on me. The test came back positive. A red spot appeared on my skin. I hesitated for a few minutes and then asked the doctor, is it normal to have such a reaction? The doctor thought for a moment and then replied, you have been treated with penicillin a few days ago, there should be no problem. I believed what the doctor said. Then I went into the ward and lay down on a bed. A nurse hooked me up to N4 and left to tend to other patients. A short time later, there was a piercing sound in my ears, like a train passing in front of me. Suddenly, I fell into a dark tunnel. I felt very apprehensive and asked myself, what's happening to me? I wanted to stop, but I went forward uncontrollably and could not turn back. I shouted frantically, and no one responded to me. I knew I had entered another dimension, and I realized it was not a dream. I knew there was an allergic reaction to the penicillin. I experienced panic and felt scared, vulnerable and desperate while floating in this endless tunnel. I knew my body was still in bed, but I couldn't go back to it. Was this death? I pondered. If so, why was my mind perfectly clear? I didn't disappear either. I felt no pain. I hovered in the air like a feather and felt very comfortable. There seemed to be a force guiding me. They affirmed my answers, clarified my confusion, and comforted my confused heart. I don't know how to describe them. They had no voice and no entity, but were full of kindness and light. They answered all my questions. I felt myself enveloped by the sunshine of spring. I understood that they were beings of a higher level than me. I called them prophets who communicated with me telepathically, revealed the true nature of the universe, the purpose of life, and opened the door to death, allowing me a glimpse into another dimension. Instantly, I left the dark tunnel. I emerged into a bright, warm world. I was completely liberated, no longer in pain, but replaced by eternal bliss. My soul asked one question after another about life and death. Wherever my consciousness went, he unfolded the answers before my eyes. This world is made up of particles. When particles accumulate, they form a concrete image. For example, to many people, the tree in front of a house is just a tree, whereas in this realm it is formed by a bunch of particles that are forever drifting and circulating. Am I a particle too? Yes, the human body is made up of countless particles. They circulate, metabolize, exchange, etc. They are all part of the movement. And your spirit exists independently, in the state you are in now. Your soul obviously exists, but you are separate from the physical world and do not communicate. You can see everything in the physical world, yet those on the other side do not feel your presence, and your loved ones have no way to understand it. As for death, because your family does not understand what death really is, They would feel sad. It was then that I began to worry about my parents. I wondered if they knew I was dead. I knew they would be very sad. In addition to them, I thought about my children. All these worries flashed through my mind. I suddenly felt my head spinning, and finally, I entered my body. When I opened my eyes and sat up, I started vomiting non-stop. When I told him what I had been through in the last 4 hours, he was silent, and his face turned pale after listening to me. I think he felt very scared. He stayed in my room with me all night. I didn't blame my doctor at all. It was because of his mistake that I had this experience. I have a new understanding of the world. I no longer feel fearful about death, and I have a new understanding of the meaning of life.